times I can't help seeing that it's not every time that can be the case. So I would tell some of my friends during endless arguments over beer and sometimes over bribe, there are certain aspects of the deterioration of standards that I observe although I must observe that my last trip, the World Cup did take care of a lot of things. You know, this is hyper-modern infrastructure. You know, it's spent a lot of money. You know, the deterioration of standards that I observe every time I come evolve more from the habit of underdevelopment than they do from the pernicious reality of income and wealth gap that the South African state has been unable to resolve. Did I notice a beautiful public flower bed here last year? Why are people now pissing on it this year? Could it be because tending public flower lawns is an aesthetic indulgence of those rich white people in Rosebank? Ça, c'est beau, blanc. The normalization of the substandard in Africa, its osmotic seepage into the weft of continental modes of being, can sometimes provide material for Nobel-grade comedy. Accused of organizing the worst election in human history in 2007, former President Olusegun Obasanjo of Nigeria lashed out at the international community for criticizing an election that satisfied, quote, African standards. How can rational people expect an African election to measure up to international standards? However, international standards are defined. A person fueled. His opinion was promptly supported by Lady Linda Chalker, the talkative British politician who always arranges to be in the company of the most reactionary elements within the ruling cabals in Anglophone West Africa. Name any public enemy. That British old woman is always. The elections were indeed very successful by Nigerian and African standards, she declared. Humiliation was complete. Bless her soul. The old British lady was a complaint. After all, we have fair elections. Over the years, I have come to observe that the habit of underdevelopment creates a nostalgia for disorder in Africans visiting the West. A wealthy Nigerian friend of mine often spends summer in Europe, the US, or Canada. He visited me here in Ottawa a few months ago, and I asked him why he is always in a hurry to go back to Nigeria whenever he's out here in the West. His answer is how I first came by my tentative theory of nostalgia for disorder as an aspect of our habit of underdevelopment. Pius, he answered calmly over the pepper soup. When we wake up tomorrow, we can be sure that there will be light and water. We can be sure that the traffic lights will be working. If you have appointments, you can be sure that folks will be there on time. That is too much order and predictability for me. I don't know how you do it, but I die of boredom living in a country like Canada. I can never imagine life without the permanent drama of Nigeria's unpredictability. Your brain has to be on duty 24/7. You go to sleep calculating the following day like a game of chess or even Russian roulette, and the dynamics may have changed by the time you wake up. That's life. Nigeria is where the action is. The following day it was gone. It's gone back. 50 years after independence, a significant fragment of the population of that continent believes action is. Fela Anikulapo Kuti famously described the motorway. That's the bus, the Lagos bus. These are motorways. And you can see people trying to get on. And so Fela waxes this song describing the motorway as shuffling and smiling. Also shuffling and smiling. And he calls it 44 sitting. 44 sitting, 19 because 44. There are 44 allowable rows of seats, but in the aisles of the bus there are 99 sardines. also standing. And you see, these are the scenes that produce 44 sitting, 99 standing. There is a thrill and an adrenaline rush to that experience that a hardline negotiation would not give up easily. If you really ask somebody who's used to Lagos life or something. And so sometimes in our categorizations of some of these things, we come with our Western categories and notions, and all that. But you just might be surprised, to get inside that bus and find somebody like me, there or struggling or being part of that crowd, even when I just arrived from Canada yesterday. Out here in the West, social scientists continue to manufacture empirical categories on underdevelopment. NGOs and development agencies continue to map out funding strategies based on the findings of academics. The UN continues to breathe down the necks of African states, kicking their asses so that they can deliver the Millennium Development Goals on the basis of measurable yardsticks. African states continue to send their representatives to the West to make appropriate noises about development in order to secure more aid and funding. Jeffrey Sachs continues to do the rounds between Canada and the United States in order to find more money for mosquito nets, big wells. Development discourse morphs into what I have called the Mercy Industrial Complex. Beyond all that, somebody somewhere forgets that there are mental universes of culture where what we call underdevelopment may be a habit, but is not always a function of material lack or poverty. For after all, the case studies, development studies, in universities and other agencies, evaluations, conferences, symposia, and seminars provide statistical evidence that Lagosians are being sardined in motorways and Danfo buses because there aren't enough buses, because there is population explosion, and because people are just too poor. The World Bank moves in, grants those famous soft loans laden with conditionalities to the Lagos state government. They purchase more buses. Some UN officials travel down to launch the new transportation scheme with fanfare. Tomorrow, we wake up to the reality that those new buses are being overloaded. We scratch our heads and return to our seminar rooms in Western universities, our UN and European Union conference rooms, our IDRC boardrooms. We return to Ottawa, London, and Washington, D.C. to crunch more statistics and empirical data. Thinking that these are communalist cultures where the driver and other passengers are often loath to leaving anybody behind.